We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. 150 years of Lalaji, pages from Lalaji Upanishad. What does this word Upanishad means? Did Lalaji wrote any Upanishad? You may ask, because you are going in your own way, in your own understanding. Upanishad is a Hindu word, Sanatan word. It comes from three separate words. Upa means sit, Ni means close, and Shad is the verb that completes the meaning of the word. Come and sit close to me. There were certain seekers. The most important among them was Sufi Brij Mohan Lal, who sat at his feet along with Jagmohan Narayan and Raghuvar Dayal. But just as when Diamond Sutra was spoken, it was addressed to Subhuti. Heart Sutra was addressed to Sariputra. Although there were other monks, in the same way, Lalaji spoke to all those who were gathered there at that moment. But it was Brij Mohan Lal, like Anand, who narrated whatever Lalaji spoke, and all these sutras Buddha did not write. Sariputra did not write the Heart Sutra. Subhuti did not write the Diamond Sutra. It was Anand who narrated it, because Anand was the one who stayed with Buddha throughout his 40 years of spiritual work. And he begins each Upanishad, each sutra, each compilation, thus I have heard. Thus I have heard. It may happen that whatever I have spoken, you are trying to put in your words, it may have something of your inertia incorporated in it. Maybe you have not understood totally what Buddha said, but at that time Anand was not enlightened. But Brij Mohan Lal was already conferred upon him the masterhood and the complete authority when Lalaji spoke, and these are compiled in as the biography of Lalaji and Chachaji, as narrated by Sufi Brij Mohan Lal, and he wrote only up to the life of 1938. Thereafter, Brij Mohan Lal left the body. After that, the work was completed by his son, Sufi Omkarnath. So it is the most authentic work. It comes in the category of Upanishad. The process of evolution is the essence of Hindu concept of incarnations. Hindus narrate this as a story of 10 incarnations, which are very scientific according to theory of evolution. Scientifically, this represents a process and explains how growth takes place at various levels. When a child is conceived, conception takes place in fallopian tube, then it reaches the uterus. where there is placenta, the fluid, and the child floats into that, gets the nourishment from that through the mother, and it resembles the early stage of the growth of a fish tadpole. Indeed, it is the way human consciousness evolves from gross to subtle levels and travels to various psychocenters according to Sanatan way, or various stations according to Sufi terminology. Lalaji has mentioned in लालाजी उपनिषद, अपने ज़मीर और नियत को साफ रखो, अपने ज़मीर और नियत को साफ रखो। इस बात की चिंता मत करो कि लोग तुम्हारे बारे में क्या सोचते हैं। Keep your ज़मीर, which is intuition, and niyat, intention, pure and uncontaminated. Be not bothered about what people say about you. Be like an elephant that walks in an intoxicated manner and does not care for the barking dogs behind him. Keep your keep your intentions and innerness, that is Zamir, and your intuition, which will guide you when you are making any decision. This will not matter if you are making the right or wrong decision. Whatsoever is needed at that moment for your transformation will happen. This is also known as the inner voice or the voice of the soul. It is voice that could be sustained or overruled, but it cannot give any decision, but it cannot give any wrong decision if you follow. And niyat implies intention. Keep both zamir and niyat, intuition and intention, fresh and pure. It does not matter if someone calls you good or bad. Such is the essence of life. People will say what they want to say or think according to their own conditionings and understanding. A person is recognized by his intuition and intention, not by what others think about him. Through my Yog Maya, I born from age to age, says Krishna, pronounces Krishna. A mystic or a master is born out of his own free will. He chooses his parents, environment, place, and time of birth. However, he needs an extraordinary womb to enter. Using the analogy of 10 incarnations as symbol, one can see the gradual evolution of soul in its journey of the ultimate fruition. The first incarnation or the stage of evolution is fish that lives solely in water. She is surrounded by the water from above, below, from all sides. It cannot live outside water. The second incarnation is turtle, which is amphibious. While it lives in water, it has ability to also come out onto the land and stay for a short period of time. The third incarnation is a woe. This now lives on the land, but is still of an animal consciousness or gross unconsciousness. The fourth incarnation is half lion, half man. The animal consciousness has reached its pinnacle in the lion and now emerging as human. You look at it at times, you are more animalistic than as a human, is now emerging as human consciousness. This is represented by half lion, half man incarnation. Such is the process of transition from animal consciousness to human consciousness. You look at yourself. At times, your consciousness is animalistic, other times is human. So you swing between the two stages. This takes place through various layers of unconsciousness, subconsciousness, collective unconsciousness, cosmic unconsciousness, collective subconscious, cosmic subconscious. The fifth incarnation is the dwarfed man. Human consciousness has evolved, but still it has to fully manifest. From here, various layers of consciousness begin. Consciousness, collective consciousness, cosmic consciousness, and super consciousness or Buddha consciousness begins to create grooves in you. The sixth incarnation is a full man, but this is brute and savage, a warrior, and has still to progress along the path. From the seventh onward, the real purpose of soul's incarnation is approaching its ultimate peak. The seventh incarnation is a dharmic man who is religious. Out of the warrior tribe, he has journeyed far and now begins to live a life of religiosity. He has been considered to be the fulfillment of humanity by many, but the journey is not yet over, and the light has not yet fully manifested its latent divinity. The eighth incarnation is the manifestation of love. Love, its multifarious aspects, the religiosity. The religious warrior is now an ideal lover. This incarnation is also considered to be ultimate fulfillment, and many souls have ceased to continue the journey from this stage. This is the development of the heart center or kalb. But that is not the end. The real life begins when the energy of the mind from suluk it reaches to the heart center, and the heart center or kalb is invoked. Or in Sufi terminology, kalb zakir ho jata hai. The ninth incarnation is awakened intelligence manifested via Buddha consciousness. Buddha, the one who has attained oneness both inner and outer. The inner space has merged into the outer space. There is oneness. This is the highest but still penultimate state. As far as the concept of incarnation is concerned, the goal has been reached, the Buddha stage. But the scripture speak of 10 incarnation, and the last one is yet to be incarnated. But just as Christians are waiting for 2000 years for Jesus to be reborn, but Jesus has to reborn in you with his qualities. Not Jesus in the physical form will manifest through you, but the qualities of Jesus has to manifest through you. Moses said, I baptize you with water. He who comes after me is mightier than I. He will baptize you with fire. There are two ways of initiating. One is from the top, that is, water is being poured, and this is very mild. The water, the grace is pouring over you. But this does not mean that the inner instincts have vanished. The other is the baptism with fire, or initiation through fire. In that, the, the frozen energies are allowed to melt first through the interaction with the master, then with the intense heat of love, energy, the melted energies begin to evaporate, and when it evaporates, it goes higher. Water merges with the cosmos and disappears into it, but the energies are absorbed by other centers: the heart center, the center of expression, the center of command, and the ultimate. This, the 10th incarnation, is not a physical being to be born as the others have been born, but this is the birth of higher consciousness within us. When the human consciousness has fulfilled its religious obligation, the obligations of love and intellect, then Kalki is born in you. You are still trying to fulfill your religious obligations in different ways. Have you fulfilled your obligation of love? That love have become your very essence. It is an unseen but realized truth. Has the inner man and inner woman has united into oneness? Love is the ultimate. When inner man, you have not yet united with the outer woman or outer man, what to talk about the union with the inner man and inner woman? That is the ultimate happening in love. And then whatsoever you speak, out of that union between the inner and outer, faculties of intuition, faculties of intelligence is born in you. Then the 10th, the last incarnation is born, has taken birth in you. And the soul attains this ultimate fruition. This represents the growth of consciousness through psychic centers or chakra, or the 9 states of development as narrated by Sufis. The very word Kalki comes from the root that means time, and its 3 aspects: past, future, and there is certainly something within these 2 end stages, 2 limits. Verily, Kalki implies a state that which is of the beyond the past, but we are still lost into the past, or we cling to the past, we cling to the present simply because of the future. If you like this thing, you cling to it in an expectation that this will continue in future. So clinging is an aspect of future. Verily, Kalki, the last, implies a state that which is of the beyond, is not a physical being to be born sometimes in the future. Kalki is you when you have attained the highest state of consciousness. The inner has merged with the outer. The union between inner man and inner woman has completed. This is born in you as ultimate fruition. Just as the kalb is invoked, and that is not the end of life, that is the beginning of life. But in order to be born in us, we must fulfill the essential nature, not outer religion. We are more concerned with the outer religion, that we must offer 5 times namaz, we must do the fasting, we must do this, we must go to the pilgrimage. All these things, essential nature or outer religion. Love is the expression of inner bliss and growth of the heart center. And intellect, the state that can discern beyond time and space. Only then you become fit receptacles to house the highest state of divinity in you. The symbol of fish represents the new process of evolution has now begun, but it has to attain to fruition, the ultimate fruition. These were the the pieces of the puzzles related to manifestation of the absolute consciousness in human form. You can see as the puzzles. As the process continues, I will speak of the other pieces of this mystical puzzle. The process has begun. The process has begun. It will continue through various phases, some of which relate to political and other things. I'm talking in reference to the birth manifestation of Lalaji and the appearance, the early life and education. Within a year after the visit of the blanket wrapped mystic to the family was born a child as the embodiment of Noor, light on February 2nd, the 5th or 1873 on, according to Hindu calendar, on the 5th day Panchami of the season of spring, on the auspicious occasion, the festival that announces the arrival of a spring of seasons. And again 2.5 years after, on 7th of October 1875, existence manifested as another boy child, because Hazrat Abul Hasan Nasirabadi 100 years ago predicted to his disciple Ahmad Ali Khan, known as Khalifa Sahab, that 2 people from Hindu religion will come and they will be the true inheritor of this wealth. There were events how the 2 cultures merge into various ways. The appearance of the blanket wrapped mystic at the doorstep of a devout Hindu, and he is speaking of the language of Kabir. Kabir was the union of Hindu and Muslim unity. And then asking for food, Durga Devi, being a devout Hindu, offered him the vegetarian meals, but he asked for fish. Specifically, he could have asked for any other meat, but he asked for fish because it is symbolic of the process of evolution to begin. That was not possible there. When she inquired from her brother-in-law, Chaudhry Ulfat Roy, he was told as a special gift from the governor of Samshabad, a place, 2 fish. Why not 3? Why not 1? Why 2 fish? These are the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that you have to understand. 2 fish were sent as a gift for the brother, and they were cooked because Chaudhry Harbaksh Rai's kitchen was separate than the kitchen of his wife, Durga Devi. Then she immediately, without any hesitation, asked those fishes to be brought from her husband's kitchen. Chaudhry Ulfat Rai brought it, and Durga Devi, with her own hands, full of gratitude, offered these fish along with the other dishes like the puri, which is bread, the Indian bread, deep fried, inflated. to the mystic he ate. And then he said in a loud voice, Allahu Akbar, that shook the hearts of Durga Devi and her maid. Why two? And then when the maid requested the mystic to bless the house lady, he said one, two, and disappeared. Durga Devi used to say that she has never seen this mystic before, because she was a very devout lady. She used to go in various satsangs, communions, wherever they were taking place in the vicinity or where she could go. And thereafter he disappeared, and she said, I have never seen him after that incident. It was a jigsaw puzzle. Within a year after the visit of the blanket-wrapped mystic, to the family was born a child as embodiment of Noor or light on 2nd of February 1873. In times both attained the status of Sheikhs of Naqshbandi, Mujaddadi, Majhariya, order of the Sufi, nourished and nurtured humanity with light and awareness that embodied through the two. Earlier life was up to the age of 7 was spent in the company of his mother. When Lalaji was 7 years of age, his mother passed away. On the eve of the 109th anniversary of Sheikh Lalaji, there were certain important letters were written. It is important how Lalaji met Sheikh Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan was teaching in the school that is known as the Islamic school, Mufti Sahab's Pathshala, the school of Mufti Sahab. So in that campus, he used to live in a room. For certain reasons, Lalaji did not have the enough facility at his home, so he rented a place, a room in the same campus where Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan was staying. So his cottage, Lalaji's room, was after the room of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. Each time when Lalaji has to reach to his room, he has to pass in front of the Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan's room, and each time Lalaji will pass, he will stay there, pay his regards, respect to the Maulvi Sahab. And Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan also used to wait. He knew that at this time Ramchandra will pass there. That time he was not Lalaji. So Ramchandra will pass there and he will pay his respect. So in that very moment, when Ramchandra is passing in front of the room of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, we have to be very precise. Ramchandra was Ramchandra at that time, but Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan was Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan Sheikh. So we have to use the nomenclature, the addresses in the same way for it to be realistic. Not like Param Pujya, most respected this and so Lalaji Maharaj. Not like that. He was Ramchandra then. Is to pass. And each time when he will bow down out of reverence, the energy, the tawajjuh of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan used to flow towards Ramchandra. And he was nourished and nurtured. On the fateful night, it was a winter night, thunder and lightning, heavy rains, and Lalaji this has become his passion in a way. We can not find a suitable word for it, that he will pass in front of the cottage room of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, pay him respect. This was his everyday routine. And so how could he break that routine? Not to be nourished by the Sheikh in the thunder and lightning, incessant rain, cold. Lalaji appeared at the door of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. And Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, the Sheikh, knew that Ramachandra will pass. Irrespective of thunder and lightning, that was his devotion, that was his passion. That was, you look at it yourself. Lalaji has to walk all the way. Ramachandra has to walk all the way 3 miles on foot walk to reach in front of the room of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. Whereas you do not have to walk anywhere. Just where you are, you have your technology available to you that you can connect to this from far away, wherever, in whichever part of the world of you are in, you can connect to this live streaming. But yet still, it is said that whenever I get an opportunity, whenever I get time, I connect. Not always. Lalaji Ramachandra walking every day to reach to his room, to study, and before that he will pass in front of Sheikh room, get his blessings. That night when Lalaji appeared, he said, such a thunder and lightning and terrible atmosphere, and you are here? इतना गजब का आंधी तूफान और आप यहाँ? You are here. Bete is the very loving address. My beloved son, go inside, change your clothes, and I will prepare the fireplace in the meantime. मैं, बेटे तुम अंदर जाके कपड़े बदलो, मैं सिगड़ी में आग जलाता हूँ. I'll light the fire in the fireplace. You go and change your clothes. After the clothes were changed, Lalaji Ramchandra came back, sat on the same bed with Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, wrapped in his own blanket, felt the warmth of the fireplace and the warmth of love, which was with far more than the warmth created by the fire. We remained for how long? It was the first tawajjuh of the Sheikh to Ramachandra. With this, the thunder and lightning subsided. Weather became little calmer. Time has passed, almost nearing the midnight. Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan told Ramchandra, Bete, now the weather has eased up, go home. He went home. He did not eat anything that night. He went straight away to rest. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, early dawn, he dreamt. A throne has descended from an unknown region on which was seated a hoary-headed mystic with a long beard. There were other sages, mystics also on that throne. Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan presented Ramachandra to the mystic on that throne, and all went into meditation, Marakba. After that, the hoary-headed mystic said, that your inclination from birth or before birth is towards a spiritual path. From your life and living or being will manifest the light that kindled up entire atmosphere. आपकी ज़ात से एक आलम मुनव्वर होगा. आलम means cosmos. Munawwar means will enlighten. Your presence will enlighten the entire cosmos beyond time and space. 150 years after, the influence of Lalaji is continuing to increase. Now he is known as Lalaji. His influence is increasing for various reasons. Everyone is working according to their own understanding to grasp the matter and absorb the matter of the master. Not everyone is operating at the same level as far as Lalaji's tawajjuh or his energy field is concerned. But it is on. This continued. Many letters. There was a communication between Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan and Ramchandra, which are beautiful. I will another time explain about those. But it is important how the light manifested and continued. After this, one more thing that I had to mention. When next day Ramchandra came to the company of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, he narrated the dream to the Sheikh. He raised his hands. May it be so. When you used to pass in front of my room and Muaddib with great, in a gesture of gratefulness, you used to bow down to pay me regards. My tawajjuh used to flow towards you. You are very dear to me. From your life, the light of the Master will continue to spread far and wide. Then, by up to now, Ramchandra alone was going in the company of the Master, of the Sheikh. Somehow or the other, his younger brother Raghuvar Dayal heard of this. He got angry and he complained to his sister-in-law, Jaidevi, the consort of Lalaji, that Bhaiya, my dear brother has betrayed me. We have done everything. He did not tell me that he was going in the company of a sheikh. And this continued. Then so Jaidevi mentioned it to her husband that Nanne, as Lalaji used to call him, Nanne means small. The smaller is smaller than the smallest, is very angry and he has stopped eating. He said, and he will not do anything, he will not eat until it happens that he too is being carried in the company of the Master. So Lalaji mentioned this to Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan, and with his permission, consent, next day Chachaji Raghuvar Dayal also started going in the company. Now the two brothers Lalaji, Ramchandra and Raghuvar Dayal used to go daily in the company of the master, the Sheikh. When Lalaji or Ramchandra was in the communion, the congregation used to be very serious. All the intricate matters were being discussed. The moment Raghuvar Dayal will come, Sheikh will say, now tell me a joke. So it was a playfulness. Whatsoever Raghuvar Dayal learned from the master it was through playfulness. He was the toy of Sheikh, the small child. He treated him like a small child. Just as you, if your child is small as youngest, so he becomes the eyeball of the parents. And we take pleasure in the mischief of that youngest one in our family. Such was the relationship between Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan and Raghuvar Dayal. But the moment Lalaji entered Samadhi, said at a particular time, up to now my and your relation was that of like that of a toy. You was my toy, but I will not tolerate any kind of disrespect ever for your brother. Raghuvar Dayal maintained that throughout his life. Although at times after Lalaji entered into Samadhi, because of various reasons, Raghuvar Dayal was not given the proper respect whenever he reached the place of Lalaji in Fatehgarh. But so at time one of his disrespect was there. Brijmohan Lal mentioned this. One of the disciples said, when they do not respect you, why do you go there? He said, I go because of Bhaiya, my elder brother. And the Sheikh has said, I will not tolerate any disrespect for your brother. Whether they accept me or not, or insult me or not, it matters not. My love for my brother and the words of Master should not falsify. Such was both Lalaji and Chachaji were two sides of the same coin. One soul, two bodies. That is why the sutra that is part of the Shajra Sharif mentions about the two is not that they are the two are they separate. The couplet is separate. It goes on in togetherness. Ya ilahi fazl se de mujhko faiz-e ahmadi. Now, Ya ilahi, O my Lord, Ya ilahi fazl se de mujhko faiz-e ahmadi. Fazl means grace, and fazl also refers to Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan. Fazl se de mujhko faiz-e ahmadi. Ahmadi, faiz means light. The energy field of Ahmad refers to Holy Prophet. Ya ilahi, ilahi means master, the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ilahi fazl se de, in the prophets of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, give me the faiz or the energy field of Ahmad, Holy Prophet. Ram Fazli or Raghuvar Bata ke vaste, in the name of Ram Fazli, Ramachandra, Fazli Fazl Ahmad Khan, or Raghuvar, his younger brother Raghuvar Ba Ata ke vaste. in the prophets of Ram Fazli and Raghuvar Bhata. How could you not narrate, or you try to make Lalaji completely a Hindu, Param Sant Mahatma Raghuvar Dayal, Ramchandra Maharaj, giving him a Hindu texture, and you consider that you will gain the respect of your master? It is like that. You have a son in the family, the son does not listen to you properly, so you do not have that kind of affection for the child, for the son. Although he is your son, he will inherit everything, but are you giving him willingly or unwillingly? Because he is your son, he will inherit your wealth, but you are not giving him out of your own free will. So such is the relation between Lalaji, Naqshbandi Sheikh Lalaji, and other so-called disciples who are trying to garb him in Hindu way. He is the union of the two. With equal dexterity, he spoke of the Hindu scriptures, and as the jigsaw puzzle in his life reveals, he is the confluence of Sufi and the Sanatan culture, tradition. Sanatan by birth, Sufi by adaptation. So it is the confluence of two. If you want to gain the respect, the love and affection of Lalaji, in a true sense, your understanding, your expression, your teachings should be the confluence of the two traditions, the Sanatan tradition and the Islamic tradition. Otherwise, you will remain like that rowdy son of yours who is not following your tenets, but because he is your son, he is bound to inherit some things. Truth is beyond narrowness is oft used message of Lalaji, which stands beyond time and space. बेतासुबी सदाकत की जान है. And you are considering yourself to be the real devotee of Lalaji, but you do not understand his message. बेतासुबी सदाकत की जान है. What बेतासुबी means? Tasub means narrow. Betasub means one who is not narrow. Sadakat means truth. To rise above narrowness is the very essence of spirituality. The first and the basic tenet to be understood is that truth is attained in emptiness and is lost in words. Truth is attained in silence and lost in speech. Truth has no language. All languages are untrue. Sufi Ramchandra is a Naqshbandi master who visited this planet between February 1873 until August 14, 1931. A moment comes when the master can be silent, but that is possible only when the disciple comes to relate to the master in a totally different way from the heart. 100 years before this event, a forecast was made about his coming to another Sheikh of the Tariqat, Sheikh Abul Hasan Nasirabadi. Sufi Ramchandra is popularly known as Lalaji by his followers of the Tariqat. He lived in a small town called Fatehgarh, in the district of Farrukhabad, which has connection with the Hindu scripture Mahabharata. Some of the characters of Mahabharata lived in that city. His entire life is an embodiment of truth that lies beyond all narrowness of caste, creed, religion, or anything. There was an incident because it was the time when the Muslim influence, although waning, there were certain people who were considering that, who were against Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, that he is giving this spiritual wealth, the tariqat, to a Hindu kafir. When Lalaji Ramchandra heard this, he came to Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. He said, Hazrat, if this spiritual wealth is bound by religion, I am ready to accept Islam as a religion. Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan went inside and came out with a knife, and he used a word that is a kind of a 4-letter word. Kaun barchot kehta hai? Who says that? Who is the bastard says that? I will kill him. हम उसका पेट फाड़ देंगे. I will shatter his stomach with this knife. These people are defiling the sacred wealth of spirituality. And it happened. It happened. This particular person, he has his disciples. He had the habit of, with an embrace, he will sulk, he will absorb all the spiritual wealth or tawajjuh of that person. So, one night when Ramchandra was going home after the communion with the master, this gentleman along with his disciples appeared on a narrow lane and tried to hug Ramchandra by saying that he is the most loved disciple of Sheikh Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, and he tried to hug him again and again with an effort to, the Urdu word is used, salb, to extract all the spiritual wealth from him. After that, he went his way. As he reached home, he felt a severe pain in his heart. Severe pain. His disciples said that we should seek the assistance of any doctor, and so he said, no, this is not an ordinary pain. I tried to extract the spiritual energy, tawajjuh of that man, Ramchandra. Instead, he took away all my spiritual wealth and made me empty. This pain that I am feeling in my heart is because of the emptiness that this man, this able disciple of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, has taken away everything from me. This pain will not finish until you take me back to Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan. Then he comes to the company of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan along with his disciples. He said, your wealth is kept under my pillows, safe, but you promise, make a vow that you will not do this thing to anyone else in future. It's like a robber who robs the people, takes away their wealth, and considered it as his own. So he tried to do the same thing. Robbing the people, we use the word robbing the people of their wealth, of their property, of their thing. So he was trying to rob Ramchandra of his spiritual treasure, the communion between Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan and Ramchandra. But instead he took it. He said, not only that you will get much more than what you lost with interest, and thus he was restored. These are part of the Lalaji Upanishad, which was mentioned in the biography by Brij Mohan Lal. I will continue. Thus, Lalaji became the very first Hindu disciple of Sufi Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan of the Naqshbandi order. In his diary, Ramchandra wrote, "At the very first encounter of my spiritual dictator, he whispered into my ears, 'Your life has been inclined towards the way of truth since long before. For this reason, it shall be revealed to you, and you yourself shall relate the truth to others. Relate the truth, relate the secret of divine principle in such a way to make its transmission and refuge in your soul. Take the help of the shades to create your own display, and do not rely on anything but the pure essence.' After giving me such a hint, my master did not leave me on my own, but himself, acting as a shadow, provided me with the period of 16 years with his inner and outer attention, nourished and nurtured me with his tawajjuh. He ordered me to keep always apart from other tenets of tariqat, way, path, and methods, and finally entrusted me with the task, the complete authority of spreading his mission to people. On 23rd January 1896, he was born. On February 2nd, 1873, on 23rd of January 1896, Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan took Lalaji completely in his shelter and accepted him as his disciple. That is initiation bayat. And on 11th of October, the same year 1896, he conferred upon Lalaji full authority to work as a master after only 10 months of intensive training after his initiation. Authorization, the full inayat, the bayat, full ijazat and khilafat and approval. After some time, Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan called a meeting in which many spiritual heads of different religions and sects were invited. Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan then presented Lalaji and told the assembled sages, "In my entire life, I have prepared only one person. Now these are my last days. It appears to me to be the order of the great masters that I should give dear Puttulal, as he used to call him, Bhai Puttulal, the full authorization and appoint him as my successor, Khalifa. All of you who are assembled here are kindly requested to test him and conquer in my decision or to reject it." All who were present were asked to meditate, and Fazl Ahmad Khan asked Ramchandra to give tawajjuh, transmission of spiritual energy to them, and to answer the question that they may ask. Lalaji and his younger brother Ramchandra, who was invited to the meeting, used to say that this session was extraordinary happening. This experience was never repeated again. He has described his experience in detail. in this sitting. Initially, there was a feeling of happiness. Then the thoughts started disappearing, and the state of thoughtlessness was there. There was total absorption in that state. Only the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our God, was there. All the masters of the order appeared to be present there. Gradually a light appeared, and that light alone was visible. Not even one's own body. There was no land or sky. They were only surrounded by light. Light appeared to be the real master, and one desired to completely merge with it. So it was the light which is the master. Eyes were full of tears, and the heart totally melted. One did not desire to come out of this state. This state remained for a long time after Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan asked the meditation, tawajjuh or marakwa to stop. After the sitting, some questions were asked to Ramchandra, and he answered them to the all assembled there to their delight. All approved Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan's decision to announce Lalaji as his successor. New era that was prophesied. With Sheikh Ramchandra, a new era ushered in Naqshbandi Tariqat. Thus Lalaji carried out the mission upon Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan's command faithfully until his last breath. He was first Sufi master who used the language of the Hindus and won popularity among Hindu community, and later his teachings even spread to the Western world. It is a start of a new era that blossomed but was prophesied long before. It was wave of time, Kal, the Lord of justice, the director of this creation, that read out loudly from the book of destiny that was written long before. It was already decided within that this was to happen. A decision was taken from within at the assembly of the masters, and now the time was right for it to blossom. This, when a tree is planted, it will definitely bear fruits if the tree is watered daily. So the outer happening is the fruit of the inner happening. Sheikh Abul Hasan Nasirabadi, of the Grand Master of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, has foretold the event of initiating Hindu disciple almost half a century ago. He told to his successor, Sheikh Ahmad Ali Khan, someone from Hindu faith will come to enjoy your company. And since they possess the quality for the task, do not refuse or hesitate. Refuse them this incomparable treasure of our spiritual heritage. However, Sheikh Ahmad Ali could not fulfill his master's instructions, since no right person among from Hindu community came for this purpose. So when Sheikh Ahmad Ali Khan authorized or gave the full ijazat khilafat to Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan as his spiritual successor or khalifa, he told that he had not much time left in this world, and therefore be entrusted this task to Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan. by the world. These, these orders of my Sheikh could not be fulfilled by me. These will remain empty words. Now they will manifest themselves through yourself. Maybe my master saw your image in you. The responsibility of granting Hindus access to this order is this order's Naqshbandi order's spiritual heritage had to wait one generation complete without having been accomplished by Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan, Maulana Ahmad Ali Khan, to whom it was originally entrusted, but through the meeting of Sheikh Fazl Ahmad Khan and Ramchandra, this prophecy was fulfilled. Due to religious misconceptions, even Lalaji himself initially hesitated about his master being only a Muslim. Lalaji wrote, I considered that great personality who was in fact free from any bondage of religion and communal feelings, just a Muslim because of my worst thinking, just a Muslim, how communal. This entire unique behavior of mine was unraveled by none other than my wife. I was fortunate that it was she who made me realize my mistake. Not only did she save me from sinking, but gave me guidance too. Her silent words seemed to sink into my heart. Saints, the masters do not belong to any caste, creed, and religion. They are free from all bondages. Take me also to that great master, said Jayadevi, Lalaji's wife. I am at your service. A woman's duty is to follow her husband. Without me, your wish will not fructify. From this insight, Lalaji took upon his wife as one of his teachers. After adopting Ram of Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan as his master, worldly people complained that Lalaji had not converted to Islam. So once Lalaji asked the permission from his master to adopt Islam. Maulana Fazl Ahmad Khan told, you should never think of such an absurd idea. Spirituality does not need following any particular religion. Spirituality seeks itself. This is the part of the Leaves from the Sufi Heart, Volume 3, which soon will be available to you all with a new author, as it has been narrated to someone. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.